as they are ideal to show the supremacy and power of one country over another. Over the years, many organizations worldwide have been responsible for making weapons so powerful and destructive they're capable of changing the course of the world in just a blink. From the simplest revolvers to nuclear bombs. We want to show you this time not only those weapons that caused a great scandal at the time and took the lives of millions of people, but also those that haven't been used so far and could have enormous consequences. Ready? Then come and learn with us which are the 5 most powerful weapons mankind has ever made. But before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With this being said, let's begin. Number 5. Korean Rifle. Did you think the only powerful weapons capable of causing great destruction were bombs? Well, no. The Defense Development Agency of South Korea recently revealed an infantry weapon prototype known as the New Korean Rifle, or XK-11. Equipped with a laser meter and an ammunition counter, this weapon allows its operator to perform precision attacks on the target. Its concept is quite similar to the American OICW, so if you know a little about weapons, you can already imagine the great power it has. It consists of 2 separate weapons combined into one and fires not only the conventional bullets you probably know, but also explosive and smart grenades. Amazing, right? Sure, you don't want to be around if a war breaks out and someone starts firing this rifle, but for now, you can relax. This weapon is still a prototype and its distribution is still for the National Army of South Korea. While you're away from Asia, you can be cool. The weapon was officially launched to the public at the DSEI military exhibition, although information regarding its development was available since 2006. The XK-11 was adopted by the Armed Forces of the Republic of Korea in 2008, and was only distributed within the Army of the Republic of Korea, as we mentioned, since the year 2010. Its members became the first army in the world to use air rifle as a standard matter in the Army. According to some sources, it's known that each squadron received 2 K-11s, although they didn't replace the grenadiers, who currently use rifles and grenade launchers. Manufactured with the intention of being able to be used both day and night, the XK-11 can give its operators some information about the location of the target and eject approximately 20 to 30 rounds of standard ammunition of 5.56mm. That's a lot, don't you think? However, it's being updated to reduce the shock that is generated in each one of the shots. A similar technology is also being reviewed to decrease the impact of the 20mm projectile launched. This probably to strengthen the ammo power of the rifle and make it easier to use, while it'll also reduce the weight of the 6.1 kilograms weapon by 10%. If you think about the technological advances Asians have, it's a surprise they are the ones who currently manage this powerful weapon. Hopefully, they keep it under guard for training, or we hope they'll use it for humanity's sake. Number 4. Laser Plane. Associating laser beams with surgical interventions is not a wrong guess. You can even think of superheroes like Superman who shoot it through the eyes. And who hasn't seen a Star Wars movie? Those battles in space, with the ships from both sides firing their laser cannons and destroying entire planets like the Death Star, are sure to be remembered. However, this time we want to keep the use of this mechanism for a weapon equal or more powerful than the previous ones. This is the Boeing YAL-1. Better known as an airborne laser, an airplane that was manufactured in a joint project with Boeing, Northrop, Grumman, and Lockheed Martin. His intention was to destroy targets with a laser beam, and they succeeded in creating this plane as a weapon system that has the function of ejecting a chemical laser of oxygenated iodine from the sky. If you're not skeptical and now you wonder how this plane works, you don't have to worry because we'll explain it to you right away. This vehicle, artifact, weapon, or whatever you want to call it, was basically meant to avoid those enemy attacks with ballistic missiles that could travel thousands of kilometers in a matter of seconds. The idea was to destroy them when they were in their first phase, meaning the stage where they're ascending to the sky. When the threat was detected, this plane ejected 2 secondary lasers that served to fix the objective and calculate possible disturbances in the atmosphere that could divert the light beam. It was then when the main laser came into operation, which remained fixed on the target for several seconds until the energy it emitted damaged the structure of the missile. A fantastic strategy, right? The projectile wasn't useful and fell back into enemy territory. Sure, those who fought the First and the Second World War would have been very happy to have this powerful weapon. Many deaths could have been prevented. Anyway, when the test performed with this laser during the 1980s proved to be a success, from that moment on, it became a test bed for development, and they definitely succeeded. The new airborne laser was considered a great advance in the world of armory, and until today, it remains under guard waiting for future international confrontations. The only thing we hope is that that day never comes. What do you think? Number 3. The Explosive Submarine. We put aside the rifles and laser planes to find another powerful weapon that could have a very large consequence if used. What would you think if we told you that submarines can be very lethal? It's assumed that these are used to explore the wonders of the ocean and immerse in those depths to which no one has ever gone before. However, an ex-military officer of the United States, Brian Clark, has made public what's considered one of the biggest threats Moscow is developing, the unmanned submarine torpedo Status 6. Actually, there's very little information about this Russian project, but it's assumed that this submarine is capable of traveling up to 10,000 kilometers and carrying a nuclear charge of up to 100 megatons. Can you imagine the great power it has? In short, nobody will want to be in the enemy coast the day the Russians happen to release this submarine. Although Clark said due to its devastating nature, Status 6 would only be used in extreme situations, so you can relax for now. Unlike ballistic missiles, this submarine shows no warning signs to the enemy. Not to mention the projectile can continue with its trajectory without deviating until reaching the objective. It can't be intercepted either. Definitely the perfect weapon to take the opposite line by surprise. If you're interested in knowing the destructive power of this weapon, then we're sure that in case of touching enemy waters and being detonated near a coast, this submarine would be able to generate waves between 100 and 230 meters at a distance of 18.5 kilometers from the epicenter. Can you imagine how devastating it would be? Not only could it be compared to the destructive force of a tsunami, but it would also cover the coastal villages with radioactive contamination. In case you wonder where the idea for this weapon's creation came from, the little information found is that it came from the 1950s. At that time, the super torpedo was named T-15. But the technology of the time didn't allow it to come true. Some even claim the most powerful nuclear weapon test in the history of mankind had approximately the same power as these torpedoes. Number 2. Bullet rain. What if we tell you there's a weapon capable of generating 1 million shots per minute? Would you think we're kidding? Or that we only want to prank you? The truth isn't either of those. As if the previous weapons we have shown you weren't enough for people to forget the desire to kill each other, the company, Metal Storm, has designed a weapon capable of making up to 1 million shots per minute. Yes, as you heard it, with no moving mechanical parts and an operation that makes you think of an inkjet printer. This is the most powerful firearm of all. Just think a little. 1 million shots per minute would be about 16,000 bullets per second. And if you still have doubts about its power, if it serves as a point of comparison, you could think of an AK-47 assault rifle. This weapon is only about 600 shots per minute, meaning 10 bullets per second. Not even a quarter of the power the Metal Storm has. Amazing, right? We're sure you're as impressed as we are by this discovery. The secret behind this new way of building weapons is the use of electronics. Given that a mechanical trigger makes it almost impossible to reach a rhythm of 16,000 shots per second thanks to its inertia, Metal Storm has banished it from their weapons. Electronics is the absolute star on this occasion. The trigger and other mechanical parts have been replaced by a cylindrical loader that goes into the barrel along with the ammunition distributed throughout it. The bullets are separated from each other by an explosive material, which is detonated when determined by an electrical signal coming from the trigger. But it's important to mention this trigger has a fingerprint recognition system that prevents the use of this powerful machine to an unauthorized person. Lucky for us, we don't want it to fall into the wrong hands and have this possible criminal shooting innocent people. Number 1. The ultimate bomb. Do you think there's a weapon 4 times more powerful than the one the United States launched in Afghanistan? If that was the son, then it's time to meet the father. We're talking about the Augmented Power Vacuum Air Bomb, which, since 2007, is being tested by the Russian government, and they say it has one of the greatest powers in the world. If you thought none would exceed those that in the past brought millions of deaths, we're sure you don't want to know the possible effects of this bomb. The little public information that is known about this device comes from a report by the Russian state television station Channel 1 Russia. Almost 10 years ago, they said its detonation generates a huge explosion on Earth. After all, it was tested once in a field where there was a set of empty buildings that became rubble after the explosion. A military vehicle was also severely damaged, and even the soil was filled with small craters as a sign of the ravages of this thermobaric explosion. If you wonder how it works, what we can tell you is that this bomb acts in 2 moments. The first thing is a loud detonation before it falls to the ground. This releases a gasified explosive material and then produces a combustion that ignites the explosive cloud for its devastating effect. We don't know what plans the Russians can have by keeping a weapon as powerful as this one under guard. However, we sure expect it to be kept that way for a long time. We don't want a massacre capable of ending the human race. Alright, Top 5ers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited thefinestpost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read?